Welcome back to The Broken Masterpiece. Today, I finally get to share with you this loft bed build that I'm absolutely in love with, and my son, my 10-year-old, loves his room. This loft bed is perfect because you can make it fit any width of room. So if you have a small room, if you've got a wider room like this, you can make it for the height and width that you need and make it perfect for your space. Now, before we decided to do this used to be our guest room, but we had 2 guest rooms and our sons were sharing a room. There's a pretty good age gap, and so they really needed their own space. And so we decided, hey, let's make this room completely his. His dream is to always have a loft bed so that he could put his desk and work underneath, his dresser underneath, and have a huge space to play. We started out with the 2x6s. We wanted to take precaution that anybody that was up there, whether it was 5 kids or 1 kid, nobody would come crashing to the floor. So 2x6s for the perimeter of the frame was perfect. We screwed them into the studs behind the wall with 3.5-inch leg screws. Now, the total dimensions that we're working with is 8-foot ceilings and 134-inch wide room. We needed about 30 inches of clearance on the top of the mattress, and so we positioned the frame pieces 5 feet off the ground. Now, we painted these first before moving on because I didn't want to have to paint around all the cross beams. This is a great time to get your kids involved and teach them how to paint. Now, I'm going to go over measurements with you, but realize that your space might be a little bit different. I don't make cuts until I'm on that step because every little bit of 1/4 inch that you might be over, it's going to change your future dimensions on the cuts that you're going to make, like in between the stairs or the cross beams. And so I make cuts as I go. We went right downstairs. We had our saw down there. It worked great. Our frame pieces are 5 feet off the ground. That gives us a 55-inch stair ladder. And from the bed to the ceiling, it gives us about 37 inches of clearance. And so with the mattress on there, it gives it about 30. We had a window that we were working around while we were doing this loft bed design, but we knew that if we added a little shim into it, we could continue the frame all the way so it would look like it goes all the way to the wall, but all the weight would be on the stair rails that we're going to put in under it. We created a ladder out of the 4 2x4s, so we individually cut notches out of the 4 2x4s in order to form a little shelf for the 2x6 frame pieces to rest on. We then wood glued them together and screwed them together to form the 2 posts of the ladder. While these were drying, we moved on to the cross beams underneath the bed. Since I was painting the bed and also staining the stair rails, I wanted to stain these underneath the bed, and so I chose antique walnut, put a little stain on them, let these dry. We individually measured around the frame to make sure that every one of these is going to fit in case our measurements were a little bit off. The coolest part about these are they are so structurally sound. We used deck braces to hold up the 2x4s as cross beams between the 2x6s. We spray painted these as well with a dark oil rubbed bronze. We spaced these about 16 to 17 inches apart, and once you put them in, the 2x4s slide right on in and you screw them. And of course, we had to do a hang test. And as you can see, our stair ladder was done and dried, and so we clamped them and glued them and screwed them into the frame. We used pine for the rungs of this stair because pine is really solid and very sturdy and really doesn't warp that much, and so we cut them to fit, we stained them, and once they were dry, we started adding them to the stairs. This method of stairs I used from another DIYer. Her name is Miss Liz Did It, and she is awesome. But these 1x4s basically held up the pine stairs. Wood glue is your best friend, so you're going to wood glue each of these boards on. You're going to lay your pine stair ladder on top of it, you're going to clamp it, then you're going to screw it in, you're going to move on to the next one. By encasing the stairs with the 1x4s, it hides the 2x4s that are the structural soundness of this ladder, but it also just creates like a floating stair effect. So you're going to see we're going to actually put these 1x4s and 1x5s around the front, around the side, and around the back. Oh wait, we didn't do it around the back. We just did it around the sides and the front. Nobody cares about the back. We didn't, our son didn't. It worked great. We're gonna let these dry overnight so that we can get started on wrapping them, cutting the plywood for the bed, and then cutting the 1x10s for the top. And we're gonna use a jigsaw to cut a little cutout so he can climb in the bed. The first time I painted this bed, now I've painted it 2 times. This is not the color you're gonna see at the end, but this was an all-in-one opulent paint by Lily Moon, and I had a sample of it from a conference, and it's fantastic. This coverage was done in 1 coat, and it's such a beautiful paint, but when we went to replace the carpet, we had to pull the ladder off, we had to pull the 1x10 off, and then we had to put that back together. So after we got the carpet in there was a bunch of holes in it. I had to wood putty it. I didn't have any more of that paint left over, so we actually used a lacquer, a water-based lacquer, to finish the paint in the end. We needed 2 1x10s for the front of this, and so we did wood putty the seam. I would have used Bondo next time because that's kind of come apart a little bit on that seam over time, and it's been about a year. But the more the kids push on it and stuff, the more it can kind of jiggle loose. I got the lip of this out using my favorite tool, the jigsaw, and it worked perfect. I sanded the edges just so it'd be a little bit smooth and not sharp in their hands. We cut this plywood to 46 inches across, laid it in the bed, and screwed it down into the cross beams. Now, as you can see just by the 1x10s, they don't go far enough, so we did have to cut another little square for that little area. We finished wrapping the stair rails, you guys, and this was what I was so excited about because we just used a brad nailer. Brad nailer is so easy to use. We have the air compressor up there. You just pop them in, they attach to the frame. It's perfect. We did use wood putty again in between the seams, and then I sanded everything down before we got to the final coat of paint. Now this is after we had replaced the carpet and replaced the fan over the bed so that our son would not get hit by any of the fan blades. Now we wrapped the stairs, we used this water-based paint by Rainier, and it is perfect. Now if you have any questions about this bed, please drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Our son loves it. He is up there all the time in his little reading nook. He can do his homework at that desk below. It's very sturdy, and this fan we got from Amazon, I'm going to link my Amazon store below. You can get all the products that you need, all the tools you need from my Amazon storefront to be able to get this project done in your house, whatever measurements you need. Now, if you haven't subscribed, please click that subscribe button below. It helps my channel out a bunch. And if you haven't checked out any of my furniture makeover flips, go check those out. I'm going to get back to that soon. I'm still recovering from back surgery. And so as I move into the fall and all 3 of my children are going to be in elementary school, I get to get back to work and back to furniture flipping.